Hello my friends, my name is Lindsay and I run the blog Books for Christian Girls, and welcome back to the little corner of the internet where I talk mainly about Christian fiction. Today we are going to be doing a tag. I had a couple other video ideas I could have filmed today for this week, but I really wasn't feeling them. So we're going to do a tag instead, and this is the Exposing My TBR Tag, which is a mess, but we're gonna do it. I actually saw this video a couple years ago over on Holly's channel and Celestia's channel, so I'll link their videos down below. But I was like, you know, I want to do this at some point, and today is that some point. I feel like doing this one. We're gonna talk about my TBR and how I add books and why I have so many books on my TBR. Maybe not the why, but we're going to talk about them. So let's get started. Question number 1, how do I come across books to add to my TBR? So this is honestly going to be a mix between BookTube friends with their recent reads and their monthly wrap-ups, and then Instagram friends that will share about books they read, or cover reveals, or authors that post about their books. I really like that trend. And I guess it's not really a trend anymore. I think it's become a pretty staple thing in the Bookstagram community, where you take a book and you've got all the little arrows and it tells you like different tropes or whatnot. I really like those. I think that is one of the best things that has ever happened in the book social media world, because it's ingenious and it just works so well. And I really like doing them as well. But as a reader trying to find books, I think that's super helpful. So probably all the mini social media sites. I don't typically find out about books in person. It's typically online. Question number 2 really isn't a question per se, but it is a shout out. So a BookTuber shout out to the person who has added the most books to my TBR. Basically all of my BookTuber friends have added books to my TBR, you troublemakers you. But I would say probably Sarah from Sarah's Tangled Tales. She's probably added the most to my TBR because she always finds fantasy books that I've never heard of, and like a lot of independent books, and I'd like to try to do better about doing indie print books myself, so I really appreciate all of her book recommendations, even though it has added way too many to my TBR. In all reality though, almost all of my BookTuber friends have added books to my list, so like Celestia, Christy, Reese, Chantel, oh my goodness, I think literally all of my BookTuber friends have added at least one book to my TBR. At least one. I know Miriam and Kailey, I get a lot of my classics from them. I do have a list of classic books I want to read. I know you're stunned. Shocking news for me, but those would be the 2 for that genre. It really depends on the genre. But yeah, a lot of different friends have added to my TBR. Question number 3 is book that has been there the longest. And so for some of these, I'll answer for Goodreads and for my physical shelf, I think, because they're different. The answers are different. So if there's a different answer, we will talk about it. But for both Goodreads and my physical TBR, I'm going to say it's probably the Katie Weldon series by Robin Jones Gunn. I created my Goodreads account back in 2013 when I started BFCG. And those were some of the first books I had added to my whole account. Like I added the Mysterious Benedict Society first, and then I did the Robin Jones Gunn, Christy Miller, and Friends books. And I hadn't read the Katie series then, and I still haven't, so they are still on there. They literally say that I added them on BFCG's like start date. I added them, so that's just like a little fun fact for you. Hopefully I'll be able to get those off of this list soon. Well, not soon, but at some point. I have higher hopes since I'm starting to reread the series, and I'm doing them in order, so maybe those will finally get off my physical TBR. Well, physical and Goodreads TBR. Elsewise for physical, I feel like I have some that have been on here for maybe 5 years. I know there's a couple. And like a good way for me to tell would be if I rewatched the Intimidating TBR tag I did more than a few years ago. But I have a hard time watching my old videos. I can't do it. So I know from the thumbnail that there are some that's like, oh yeah, I still have that book to read. Why haven't I read it yet? I don't know, because like it looks decent, it looks good, but I haven't read it. So there's a few, but in all reality, I don't feel like there's that many. I feel like I weed through my TBR pretty often where that doesn't happen. Or maybe I'm kidding myself. I could be kidding myself. Question number 4 is your most recently added books. And for Goodreads, it's actually a clean Regency book, and that's To Love the Brooding Baron by Gentry Flint. I actually just read the first book in this series, so I added the second book. Goodreads doesn't have them as a series, and I don't think they technically are, but it's connected to the author's other book, Games in a Ballroom. Yes, I just read that one. I'll be talking about it in an upcoming recent reads. I didn't love it because it had like a lot of like really cute romance parts, but then it had a very serious note of the main girl's father is verbally and physically abusive, and he just like brought down the whole tone of the book, and I didn't love it. But the second book is actually one of the main guy's friends who we see very often. It's his story, and then the main guy's sister story. So I'm curious about that one. I'll probably find it at some point and read it. So that would be for Goodreads. But for my physical TBR, I won these 2 books in a giveaway on Facebook. There is actually a Christian YA and teen readers Facebook group that I'm a part of that you ought to check out if you're on Facebook. It's a great group, and it's so fun because it's all supposed to be Christian YA, and that's one of my favorite genres, so I really like it. And they had a summer bingo, and I was very shocked that I won. So I got these 2 books, and one of them is Salvage by Shanna M. Heath. This is contemporary Christian YA. And then Rise of the Y by Angela D. Shelton. And this is Christian dystopian YA. And my 2 favorite genres right there, contemporary Christian YA, contemporary dystopian YA. I have pretty high hopes for these. They are both independently printed, and I believe they're both on Kindle Unlimited. I looked it up. So I'm going to read these probably sooner than later because I'm excited, and I'm very curious because I knew about this one, and I've had my eye on it because Christian dystopian YA, there's not enough of it. So I'm curious. I do think it got a cover change, though, which I think that's the new cover according to Amazon. I actually think I kind of prefer this one. So I'm excited to have this version. And then this one I've never heard of, but you know, I'm game with trying them, so I'm excited to read them. Question number 5, what book will I read next? In all honesty, I am currently reading This Life of Mine by Victoria Lynn. That was on my physical TBR. I'm currently reading that one as of filming this. I'll have it probably done by the time this video is posted. So I'm working on that one, but then I'll probably pick up the Christy Miller Collection Volume 2 next, because that's just, I'm trying to reread those. But that's a reread, so that doesn't really technically count. So I'm not quite sure what my next book will be after that. Probably a review book and one not on my physical TBR. It'll be on my Goodreads TBR, but not my physical TBR. Question number 6, most anticipated book and why haven't I read it? So here's the thing. I don't honestly feel super duper duper excited about any of the books on my physical TBR. Like, I'm curious about them and I'm excited about them and I'm anticipating them, but most anticipated to me is like I cannot sit still. I want to read this book. There is like, get everything else out of my way. I want to read this book. And I don't have any books like that, which is good because I've got to do other things with life. I don't have anything like that right now. And I think that's okay because typically when I have one of those books, I read it quickly after I get it or it releases, whichever, whenever I buy them. I read them pretty shortly after that. So I don't have any currently right now. I definitely have ones I'm really excited for and eager for, but most anticipated, I don't know, there's just a slight little nuance there to me that's like, I don't have one that's quite that thrillingly excited. That might make sense to nobody but myself, but it is what it is. Question number 7, books I added to my TBR because of the hype. And I feel like I don't, well, okay, maybe I do have a few. Resistance by J.L. Knight. Christian fantasy. I have to read it. I'm debating though, which one do I read first? This one or the Blades of Akhtar series? I've had some people tell me one, I've had some people tell me the other, so I don't know. I'll probably just like read the first chapter or both and see which one I'm in the mood for. I want to read one of them this fall, I think. It already is fall. I want to read one of them soon. Ish. I'll probably do a reading vlog for whichever. So those, but then also the If I Run series by Terry Blackstock. Both physical and Goodreads for all of those books. I have those and I haven't read them. I was going to read them and keep me in suspense August, but I did not. So at some point I'm going to read them and see if they're worth the hype. We'll see. Question number 8, books I added that I knew I wasn't going to read. The blunt honesty in this question makes me tickled because I really try not to do that on Goodreads, and like I usually clean up my want to read shelf on Goodreads yearly. I'll say yearly on that. I feel like I used to do it way more often, but now it's really just yearly. And I try to keep it not cluttered, for lack of a better word. So I don't feel like I have ones that like I added even though I knew I wasn't going to read. Maybe 2 I knew that I wanted to read that I can't read would be Lois Gladys Leopard did a series shortly before her death where book 1 and 2 of the Lily's Adventure series was published, but 3 and 4 are like lingering out there, but they've never gone to print, and they're on Goodreads, so I have them added, even though I can never read them. It's sad. It's sad. She had another series too, I think she started, that didn't get even to print either. There's covers, but I don't think they went to print. The Tom and Janie mystery series. And then, of course, like the rest of the Mandy college years, those weren't continued because the author had passed. So, maybe those. We'll go with those. Question number 9. Any books on there that I will remove? Honestly, I feel like there's some Amish books I could remove on there because I really don't read many Amish books anymore. I think I just got so burnt out on the genre over the years. So, maybe some of those. I feel like I've got like the Amish Bishop mystery series. I read like one of the books, and I think I've got the other ones on my TBR that I probably should just remove because I don't think I'll be reading those anytime soon. Elsewise, I do need to go through and see. And then question number 10 is the grand reveal of the number of books on my TBR. So Goodreads, my want to read shelf is 815, which honestly sounds like a lot, but when I compare it to other book friends on there, I don't think it's that bad. I sincerely don't think it's that bad. Some of y'all have a ton. For my books on my physical TBR, I didn't count prior to filming this because I don't want to know. If we're being fully honest, I don't want to know. It's over 200 though. It's easily like 250 plus. Unfortunately, I try to do better, but then I do book hauls, and then whoop, there went that plan out the window. And yeah, that's why I'm in the dilemma I'm in. It's great. So that is the end of this tag, as I've exposed my TBR and how crazy it is. So now let's find some friends to tag. Ooh, who should we tag? I have so many book friends. I'm trying to think who's done this one. I know quite a few of y'all did it a couple years ago. Oops, that's an ISBN number I just copied out. Oh, that is. I was actually trying to search to see if I could get the Lois Gladys Leopard books, but I could not. So that was disappointing. Okay, so Celestia's done it. Holly's done it. Okay, you know what? I'm going to tag 3 friends so they can tag other friends. So I'm going to tag, who do I want to tag? Okay, I'll tag Rachel, and I'll tag Morgan, and I'll tag Chantel, because then I think y'all will go out and tag another 3 people. Maybe. We'll do it that way. It's so funny because back when I first started BookTube, there was me, Melanie, and Angela, and we didn't really have anyone else to tag. It was really just us. And then as the community has just grown over the years, it's been great. So like Holly joined, and Oshina, and Celestia, and it's just been so neat to see the Christian BookTuber community just grow like crazy. And it's neat. So yeah, I have too many friends to tag now. Wow. My introverted self has too many friends. Who knew? So that is it for this video, though. This was just a quick, fun little video. I hope you enjoyed it. Nothing really else to talk about here. Feel free to answer any of these questions in the comments. I will leave the questions. I can leave it in the comments, too. I'll put it in the description, but I'll leave it in the comments. So if y'all want to answer them, I think that would be pretty fun. And if I see y'all have books on your TBR that I love, I'm going to encourage you to read them. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see y'all next time. I think my next video is probably going to be a recent reads because I've got quite a few books. Well, I have 11-ish books to talk about so far. So next week will probably be a recent read. And I'm debating if I'll do a fall TBR. I don't know. I didn't do great with my August TBR. I'm still working on it. And it's September. Oh well. So that is it for this video though. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see y'all next time, and I hope you have an absolutely lovely rest of your day. I am Lindsay from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where there is a new review every Monday and Friday. I try to post a new video on this channel every Friday, and then I am also on Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads to talk about books here, there, and everywhere. Have an absolutely lovely rest of your day, y'all. Bye!